Hey guys, welcome to Pages with Sidra. Today we are going to start chapter 632 of I Have 90 Billion Licking Gold Coins. If you haven't watched the previous chapters, make sure to check them out on my channel. Now, without any delay, let's dive into the chapter. Chapter 1088, A Sword to Split the Mountain. Wang Kai, connect my voice to the live stream. Yes, master. Your voice is now being synced to the global live stream via Bluetooth headset. Wang Kai replied softly in Qian Yuan's ear. At this moment, Qian Yuan had already arrived at the western border of Xinjiang. The clear blue sky suddenly turned dark as heavy storm clouds rolled in. The thick cloud cover made the satellite live stream footage blurrier and blurrier. Flashes of lightning danced faintly behind the clouds. Boom! A deafening thunderclap exploded. A bolt of lightning as thick as a water tank burst through the sky. The sound shook the heavens, as if the very sky had been torn open. It was a sign. A storm was coming. It's thundering. Quick, bring the clothes in. Wait, who's transcending a tribulation here? Damn, with how wildly smoke bros flying around. Is he even gonna make it to the final battle? What if he gets struck by lightning first? Maybe this is his lightning tribulation? Is he about to ascend? Come on, guys, enough of that fantasy nonsense. You didn't even pass middle school physics? Lightning is a natural phenomenon. Stop teaching kids the wrong stuff. The video is getting worse. The clouds are so thick, they're blocking even the satellite feed. As millions of viewers around the world started complaining, suddenly, Qian Yuan let out a thunderous shout. Disperse. The moment his voice rang out, a whirlwind suddenly formed. At first, it was only about 30 feet tall, but in the blink of an eye, it grew to 100 feet, 1,000 feet, 10,000 feet, 100,000 feet high. The monstrous tornado ripped through the sky. The thick storm clouds swept away completely. Even the lightning seemed to vanish with it. The satellite feed cleared instantly. In that moment, billions of viewers around the globe sat frozen, even though they thought they were ready. What they saw still felt too unreal to believe. Holy, did Smoke Bro just control the weather? This means he can summon rain or thunder whenever he wants. That's the ultimate move to impress girls. Bro, if he can command the forces of nature, you really think he still needs to impress girls? Get out of here with your simp logic. Wait, did anyone else just hear Smoke Bro speak? Smoke Daddy, don't tease us with that voice, we're gonna faint. With the skies now cleared, everyone could see clearly. Qian Yuan had landed atop a snow-covered mountain. On a neighboring peak stood a cold, arrogant figure, clad in a black cloak, half his face covered by a metallic mask. Behind him stood a group of high-ranking Skull Society members. The atmosphere instantly grew tense. Though the two mountain tops were thousands of meters apart, Qian Yuan and Edward could still speak as if face to face. This was Edward's first time seeing Qian Yuan in person. Sure, he'd seen him many times online, but this was different. This can't be real. His life force. He's only in his early 20s. To break through to the 11th tier. To become a star-tier powerhouse at just 20-something years old. Even in the universe, that would qualify as a rare prodigy. Sure, he's still far behind the true monsters of the cosmos. But for a native of Earth, a planet with no resources, no techniques, no proper environment, to ascend into a Tier 2 cosmic life form by age 23? And he did it all, right under my nose. Edward was shocked. But the very next second, his heart surged with excitement. In his eyes, Qian Yuan was now a fat prize. No, a super fat prize. What kind of advanced civilization could train someone like this? What secrets did this Earth native carry? Could it be the inheritance of a Tier 3 or even higher civilization? If I kill him and take that inheritance, this might be the opportunity of a lifetime. Excitement blazed in Edward's eyes. A sharp killing intent suddenly burst forth, like a sea of blood and corpses rolling toward Qian Yuan. But Qian Yuan wasn't afraid. He too released a killing intent so strong it felt like a solid wall. The air between them froze instantly. And then, crack! The earth shook. A massive avalanche broke out across the mountain range. Both peaks cracked under the pressure of their auras. From the mountain tops down to the base, deep fissures spread, bottomless and terrifying. Qian Yuan calmly raised one hand behind his back. With his right hand, he formed a blade with his fingers and gently sliced across the air. Cosmic energy gathered at his fingertips. In an instant, It formed a sword beam tens of thousands of meters long. It shot through the sky and came crashing down, straight toward the opposite peak. Boom! A mountain, split in half. The earth shook. It was like the end of the world. One slash, a sword to split the mountain. Beyond terrifying, billions of people watching the live stream were frozen in place. Their souls trembled. But even such a godlike attack didn't harm Edward in the slightest. He had already moved. With a flash, he dodged completely out of the attack's range. Humph. That's it. Your power isn't bad, but your attacks are too slow. At this rate, you can't even hit a tier 10 weakling. Total waste of energy. Other than looking cool, did that do anything? Edward stood tall in the air, hands behind his back. There was a faint smirk on his face. He casually waved his hand, and out of thin air, a blood-red battle blade appeared in his right hand, radiating a terrifying sharp aura. Qian Yuan's eyes narrowed slightly. Could it be a spatial ring? Edward sneered. Let me show you the true gap between us. Even if we're in the same tier, you and I are worlds apart. With a cold laugh, Edward shot forward. His speed was terrifying. In the blink of an eye, he appeared right in front of Qian Yuan and slashed down hard with his blade. Qian Yuan was a master of elemental forces, but in close combat, things might get tricky. Chapter 1089, Battle reaches boiling point. A long-range mage, choosing to duel face-to-face with an assassin of the same level? From the moment you accepted this fight, your defeat was already written. You're freshly promoted, have zero combat experience at this tier, and even gave up your safe distance? That's just ridiculous. This is the tragedy of a rookie. You have no idea how dangerous this world really is. At this level, assassins are the fastest. In close combat, they strike before your cosmic energy can even form. Before you realize what's happening, your head could already be rolling on the ground. And he's wearing a nano-battle suit that nearly doubles his speed, along with a Tier 2 civilization's blood crystal saber. This duel? It should have been one-sided. Qian Yuan was speechless. Edward thought he was fast, confident, even. But in Qian Yuan's eyes, he was slow. Painfully slow. Qian Yuan had caused such a dramatic entrance purely for the livestream. The audience loved these kinds of intense visuals. But truth be told, he wasn't skilled at controlling the forces of heaven and earth yet. Not really. He was still a beginner at manipulating cosmic energy. No one had ever taught him. He'd learned it all on his own. But close combat? That was a whole different story. In close quarters fighting, Qian Yuan had plenty of experience. He wasn't just skilled in martial arts. He'd mastered the falling leaf sword technique. Even if his strength had improved and some things had changed, the essence of his techniques remained the same. At the end of the day, close-range combat boiled down to just a few core moves. With stronger power and faster speed, it was all about applying those same techniques better. Plus, his mental strength let him control his body with surgical precision, far beyond the microcontrol level. You want to fight me up close? My base stats are off the charts. You think I'm just bluffing? Sorry, but close combat is what I do best. Before the thought could finish, it happened, in the blink of an eye. In just 0.0001 seconds, Edward had already unleashed a killing blow. A cold smirk appeared on his lips. Even if Qian Yuan dodged that first strike, he had a full combo lined up. He could slash 108 times in just 0.1 seconds. Each strike deadly, flowing like water without pause. But just then, Qian Yuan grabbed his wrist. Then bam! A shoulder throw at shocking speed. The moment Edward was thrown, Qian Yuan followed with a flying kick midair. Boom! Edward's body shot out like a cannonball, crashing into a cliffside. The solid granite wall was smashed into a crater 50 meters deep. Edward was completely stunned. What just happened? Perfect level footwork. Top-tier close combat skill. That strength? That speed? That reflex? How is he this strong? Uffed. He spat out a mouthful of blood. This time, he was genuinely coughing up blood. He realized he had been played. Qian Yuan had never shown his close combat skills in either the Western or Eastern wars. This had all been an act. Wait, that's it. Qian Yuan just one-shot Edward. I thought we were going to see an epic, earth-shattering duel, but this? Looks like we overestimated Edward. Welp, night folks. The livestream chat exploded in confusion. They'd expected an even match, not a one-sided beatdown. But was the fight really over? At that moment, Edward was so furious he snapped. You damn bastard. You dared to play me? Go dot. Nano armor. Activate full form. With just a thought, the metal vest on his body shifted. In seconds, it had reshaped and spread out, covering his entire body. From head to toe, he was now fully armored in jet black nano armor. The suit merged with his body like a second skin. Boom. Another deafening explosion. The mountain wall behind him shattered into dust as a dark armored figure burst out. He radiated terrifying power. Rise. With a wave of his hand, an entire snow-capped mountain lifted off the ground and came crashing down toward Chen Yuan. Chen Yuan leapt and kicked the mountain into powder with one strike. Edward roared and charged again, blade in hand. This time, he was much faster. His strength, far more intense. Chen Yuan raised his long sword and unleashed the falling leaf sword technique once again. The two collided, locked in brutal combat. From the satellite view, black and white flashes streaked across the landscape, blurs too fast to track. Only two streams of light could be seen, clashing again and again. Each collision shook the earth. Mountains collapsed, rivers dried up, snowcaps shattered. Their battle raged from the sky to the ground, then back to the sky. They fought from the Kunlun Mountains, all the way to the Taklamakan Desert. A massive sandstorm was stirred up in their wake. For a full hour, they fought nonstop, yet neither could defeat the other. Ever since Edward donned that black armor, his combat strength had skyrocketed. Speed and attack power were impressive, but it was the defense that left Chen Yuan helpless. No matter how hard he hit, that nanosuit absorbed it all. It was like fighting a tank. Nothing could break through. This guy was armed to the teeth like a porcupine. And yet, Edward felt the same frustration. He'd never met a Tier 11 fighter with such an inhuman body. With his nano armor, Edward's combat level was nearly at Tier 12. He could survive hits from enemies 3 levels above him. He should have been able to slowly outlast any equal opponent. You hit me 100 times, I feel nothing. I hit you once, you're dead. Wasn't that the logic? But what the hell? This bastard was even more broken than he was. Practically immortal. No matter how many times Chen Yuan got hit, his wounds instantly regenerated, like nothing happened. And more often than not, Edward was the one getting beaten up. For every one hit Chen Yuan took, Edward had already been hit 100 times. It must be a high-level civilization inheritance. That's the only explanation for this absurd regeneration. I must get the treasure hidden inside his body. Edward's eyes burned with obsession. That's it for today's chapter recap. If you enjoyed the breakdown, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to stay updated with the latest manga, manhwa, and manhwa recaps. Got thoughts on today's chapter? Drop them in the comments. I'd love to hear your take on the story. See you in the next one. Until then, keep turning the pages.